of the Pod is Good podcast. I'm your man, Cashmere, California, and we have a show for you today. One of my guests that I've been long awaiting the arrival of, not just since the podcast started, but even before the podcast. We've been talking about working together in this new venue for a long time. We've done music together, we've done events together. Now it's time that we finally get a podcast together. So on episode 4, I'm bringing in one of my closest friends, one of the most dynamic, funny, musically inclined, spiritual people that I know. And you're talking about conversations that can go on for hours and hours and hours without boredom, without dry spots, without wanting to run away from them. I can have them with this guy all day, every single day. So without further ado, my guest for today, Mr. C. A. Hold on, I can't hear you. Your audio, I don't got your audio. Of course, that's how it would go. I would of course not have my. That's so true. That's fire. That's fire. That point that you just made right there was that was fire. All right, we're gonna get this together today. Now I don't got your video. I lose. Hold on. I want to be on the other side. I lose the. First I don't have. First I can't get them on all together. Then I lose the. Then I don't have the audio. Now I don't got the video. But what's really going on today with this episode, man? Well, what we doing? What we doing? How we find ourselves in this particular situation where down is up is down, nothing is working. I mean, sometimes it be like that. Now I see him again. Let me see, do I hear him though? Because if I can't hear him, it's gonna be almost impossible.
Any better?
That is a lot better.
AirPods.
That is a lot better. I just didn't want anybody that's just on the audio stream,
dude,
listening on Apple Podcasts to be like, so this guy is talking to himself. That's a new approach to a podcast, just to talk to yourself. You're totally not
talking to yourself. So like, do you have a partnership with Restream or something, or are you just trying this out? Because
I mean, so far you were the first guest that had any issue. Everybody else has been like, bam, they in.
It's like that. That's what we're doing.
I'm sorry.
We're singling out.
I'm sorry. I had to bring on yesterday's guest just to have him confirm, and he's like, "Yo, it was this simple. I don't know what's up with your boy." Maybe.
Okay, Dodge. We will be talking. Well, I guess I don't need this, dude. I guess I forgot that you wanted to go live, bro. Like I had all my stuff set up. I got my camera set up, all this, and you sent a link, and I'm like, a link. We talked about a link. I forgot. That's on me, bro.
It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, that's on me.
How you been, fam?
I was cool until about 12 o'clock when I thought we were about to start sound check and video check, and you like, yo, the link. Like, link? What is this link? No, I'm good.
Are you
I'm good.
What's your microphone situation? When you get a little higher, it's starting to crack. Are you using your AirPods?
I am using my AirPods.
Oh, okay, that's what it is.
You said it sounds like it cracks when I get higher?
It's better. You should probably do the rest of it just like that. That'll probably be.
I mean, there's a settings gear on the screen on this app, and I can try switching the microphone because I can hear you, but you want me to try?
No. I mean, I can hear you. I can hear you well. I was gonna tell you to put some distance, but you can't really put distance between you and the AirPod. I can't put distance.
Is it volume? Is that when it cracks?
Yep, that's it.
So for the rest of the interview, I should speak very loudly.
I don't like to tell my guests what to do. I like to be.
It employs emotion. It transmits feeling, bro.
Transmits.
I don't know.
Click off.
This is gonna be tough because I'll be getting loud. So it's the Georgian in me.
I mean,
So to
what
answer your question, I'm good. I've been very good. God is blessing. I am
always?
have a belly full of
Uh-huh.
food.
There
I'm
you
in a
go.
safe place.
There you go.
I feel love from people.
Yeah.
Music is going well. Could be going better, but I feel
Now
like
you
there's
just
always something better.
you just touched on something that I want to
Yeah,
get your view on. You said, I'm a Georgian, and a
yeah,
lot of people, especially in our area, Southern California, are transplants from other regions. But
yeah,
truthfully, America in general, it has a lot of transplants. So just I would like you to speak
yeah.
to whatever, if any, homesickness, whatever distance that you feel from Georgia. Are there any
Not yeah, not
Georgian
as
culture from the people or the food or anything that you're like, man, I just missed
kind
that?
of, kind of. It's a little tricky because like I've been in LA for so long. There's a significant part of my heart that feels like LA is home.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I mean?
You've
Because
adjusted.
I've been here a long time. I've been here since 2004, I think. So I'm almost at 20 years. Um, but I don't know. I think the big oh man, this is gonna be rough. So to all my LA friends and fam and colleagues, please don't hate me. But I think probably what I miss the most is feeling like, when I'm home, still now, when I'm home, when you go and you're talking to people you don't know, you feel more like they're talking to you and not whatever title they think you hold. Meaning
Mm,
here, here when I'm talking to somebody, especially if they come up to me to talk, I don't know if they're talking to me because of who I work with. I don't know if they're talking to me because of my skill set. I don't know if they're talking to me because of who I'm married to.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And like
yeah,
all that stuff was uh didn't start until I got to Los Angeles.
of course.
At home, I think because home was had such deep roots. Whenever I would socialize and network and whatnot, it was much more like, can we get along versus can you do something for me to make my life better? And I still would say yes if I can help somebody.
Of course, of
But
course.
it's that feel. I ever tell you about that chick at the gig at the House of Blues that like I there was a moment after we had been talking for a few minutes where I realized that this chick had asked me what I do for a living, what kind of car I drove, what area of the city I lived in, and like it kind of hit me all at the moment. I'm like, yo, she is sizing me up, and she's doing it like right away, and
Right.
I didn't even
Like,
notice
like
until that moment.
let's get to it.
Yeah,
She's like,
and
let's just get to it.
it was crazy because she was like other level hot. Like she brought all of her A game. She was a knockout, and it just kind of hit me like a ton of bricks. I was like, okay, well let's do this. So I lied. I was like, I can't remember what I said was my career, but I said I drove an old something, and I was like, right now I live in my truck, but I got a lot of hotels that I'm cool with, and so whenever I need a bed and a shower, I just go there, and it's all good. I just lied, and she, which was
She was
you
like,
know,
huh, huh,
man, that's
huh.
that's what I do, and that ended that conversation, and I saw her move on to the bass player, and I'm like, okay, eh,
Yo,
thank you God for the revelation, because
look, I have a story similar to that. I
mm,
was walking through downtown LA, and let me tell y'all, um, maybe you handled it better, but there's nothing like LA to bring you back down to earth, make you feel a great amount of humility,
yeah,
from even a good place. Like you could be in a great place, and LA will let you know it ain't that great. And so I'm feeling
yeah,
myself. I'm walking down
quickly,
downtown LA,
yeah,
styling. I can't remember what I was doing, maybe shopping. I'm doing my thing, living life. Times are good. The city is popping. This is
yeah,
before COVID. The sun is out. I'm feeling amazing, right? Living my best life. I walk by this girl. She ain't bad or nothing like that. Just average chick. But she sees me and she's like, "Oh, Jay." And I'm like, I
that is
mean,
your name,
that is,
yeah,
but no one really calls me Jay. I'm
no,
like, I'm
no,
just kind of like, Yeah. She was like, you do the show in the Valley, right? And I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh,
Okay. Okay. That's right.
but Jay
But
though,
still
like,
Jay. Even if you know me from the show, you really wouldn't call me Jay. And
mm,
I'm like, yeah, yeah. She was like, oh yeah. Yeah, I've been through there. You're like, I love it, yada, yada, yada. When's your next one? I'm like, just kind of I, I don't know where to go in the conversation
yeah,
because I
yeah.
can't tell. So I'm just kind of
You
like
like, what's your
giving it,
angle, girl? Yeah,
I'm giving it just enough. But again, I'm feeling good about, so I'm just like, hey, somebody know me. They've been to
yeah,
the show. Hey,
yeah.
I'm out here doing my thing, right?
Right.
I ain't from this city. I'm just trying to make my mark.
Mhm.
And then she says, you you got that house in the hills and you're having that beach party next week, right?
Yeah, that's me.
I was like,
What we're gonna do about that right now? That's me. House in the hills, beach party. So what we doing? What we talking
yeah, I am having it. What's your name?
about?
Oh yeah, it's a really small list though. Like you have to call. You,
uh
I don't I don't remember your name. It's only like 8 people, so I
I don't know. Somebody
feel
else
like
is handling my guest list.
mm,
Yeah.
who do you know? Like who do you know?
Who
You, know,
told you?
you gotta
That's
turn
what I
around.
want to know.
Who you
How
talk?
you
Because you
know?
didn't talk to me. So
Yeah.
who?
Jay. Oh
but
man.
but man, all of a sudden you feel like, oh, I don't have a house in the hill, and I
Yeah.
don't have a beach, a pool party this
Yeah.
weekend.
Yeah.
I'm just me.
Me, I'm just me. Yeah. So
I'm just me.
so last night, right?
Yeah.
Last night I had it was like a casual kind of networking thing, but we ended up talking about a lot of business with this engineer that I work for and with, and he's got a nice place, bro. Like he's got a nice place, and he has an area on the top of his building that he owns that he can just go up there. It's barbecue grills, a nice tables, got a fire pit. It's nice. So
Hmm.
we up there chilling, drinking, loving life, talking about everything.
Yeah.
And little by little, I'm like, so I'm gonna have to leave from here. I'm gonna have to leave this roof, go downstairs. I have to be let out of the huge parking garage and drive home to. I'm about to leave. Yeah, right. He lives in Santa Monica, bro. He lives in Santa Monica. You're near the beach, so I'm gonna have to drive from the beach
From the beach. I don't live
back
near the
home.
beach. Oh man.
Yeah.
All right. So
I feel like it would have been better though if you
mhm.
would have actually been honest with homegirl about no, you don't have the house in the hills, and no, you're not throwing a beach party. Just to see her face go from oh, okay, that's how you really get in there.
that's how you
That's how you really get the head low.
yeah.
You tell the
But
truth.
listen, if
Nah, man, let's be depressed. Come on, let's do it.
no, I was gonna say if
Yeah.
the pool party doesn't work out, I could have a party just for you. Like I mean, my apartment complex there's a pool, so I mean
Yeah.
we could just party us. Like I don't know if you're
and then drive home from your pool party back. No, it's cool. I'm fine. I'm fine. Everything's fine. I'm fine. I've learned when I'm talking to people, when they say that phrase over and over, I'm fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. I'm
oh
like,
yeah, oh
yeah,
yeah.
it's
You
fine. I'm fine. Everything's fine.
and you learn that from being
Yeah,
married.
yeah, yeah.
You learn that because prior to
I mean,
marriage,
no.
you're like, I think maybe, but after marriage, you're like, yeah, something's wrong. I know.
Yeah,
I know.
I mean, I think you're right. I don't. The thing is, like, my wife doesn't do that particularly. There's actually two other people that I'm close to that do that. Um, but I know what you mean when you say that. That's not her strategy for pushing something aside until she's ready to do it. She has other strategies. That
Mm,
particular one ain't hers, but I know what you mean.
I got you.
Yeah,
I
so
got you.
for me, it didn't happen until I was married, but not because of who I was married to. Different.
Okay, fine. Don't be like the rest of us. It's cool. It's
Uh,
cool, have a better,
Yep.
you know what I mean? Like, no, enjoying the
Yep.
rest of I want to have a show. I want to have an episode called Hubby Wubbies, and I just want to have
Okay.
like,
Okay.
or like a
A bunch of
segment.
husbands.
Yeah, we're just
I
husband.
don't know, dude. I feel like
Com-
that'd be the most sad episode ever. Like a bunch of dudes just,
hey,
hey
when
man, how
you're
you doing? I mean,
when you're at home, do you get to? Mm-mm.
no, no.
Not
Hey
even
man,
on
do
your,
you still? No.
not even on your birthday. Nope.
Definitely not on my birthday. No. We like to spend time doing what she likes on my birthday. So she'll take the day off, and then we want to go to Berg Williams, and for my birthday.
Dude, I've been in
Yeah,
that spot where I've talked to somebody that I haven't
yeah,
talked to since I got married,
yeah.
right? And
Oh
and
no, that's
oh my goodness, like, and you don't
yeah.
notice it because
Do you
marriage,
still? You remember when you used to? Yeah.
your marriage does, there's adjustments that you make, and you don't realize
Right,
how
right,
far the
right.
adjustments have taken you
Yeah,
from 1.0, you know what I mean?
yeah,
The original
yeah,
version. And
yeah.
so somebody's like, yo, I know you, you always would have typed to, and they hear you talking and they like, you ain't really used to
You're
sound
different.
like that. Why you think about yourself like that?
Yeah.
Why you don't,
You. Oh God.
why you,
Why you think about yourself
you
like?
don't sound as confident as like you used to be, like, really,
Oh
wow. Like, what happened?
yeah. The worst is, hey man, you alright? Yeah, you're right. Nah, man.
I
Like when you
remember
gotta
you. You don't
convince.
seem, this ain't
The,
you. This
oh man, I feel like we scaring people, bro. I feel like some dude is watching and he gonna go to his lady. See, no. Yeah, it's okay, brother. There's moments where you'll be happy. It's moments. And I'm serious, but we had one earlier. Like my wife was leaving and she was like, "Bye," and I was like, "Get it."
it was really good because sometimes she leave without saying bye.
Yeah.
So then when she
That's
said
what
it,
it
it was like,
is.
oh wow,
She gave me a
maybe we're getting to
she
a
gave
better
me a
place.
hug and a kiss, and it was a great hug. You know what I mean? I was like, love. That's what happened. That's the way it went down. What you just said.
That there's a movie with Anthony Anderson. I can't remember what it was. I feel like it was called Dads or something like that. But it was him and like 2 or 3 other dads. And one of them wasn't a dad yet. He was about to be. And he was having a conversation
Anthony
with
Anderson?
Anthony Anderson, like on a park bench. It was asking him about like what it's like having kids. And he said, it's like it's terrible. And then it's terrible and it's terrible.
Oh yeah.
And then they do
I don't.
something amazing. And then it's
Yeah,
terrible, terrible. I'm not
yeah,
going to, because I know, we do have future husbands, we have future wives, we have current husbands and wives listening. I'm not
yeah.
going to say it's like that, but I will say
I get it.
there's a roller coaster effect.
Yeah.
There's
I did see that. I can't remember the name of the
yeah.
movie, but I do remember that scene where he was like, and then they'll do something wonderful, and it'll melt your heart, and then terrible. So on the flip side, one of my favorite scenes was, I think it was a movie with Amy Poehler and Tina Fey, and I believe the premise was Tina Fey was a working woman, and she wanted to um, hire a surrogate and have a kid. So she wanted to do the single mom thing, wanted to do the surrogate,
Yeah.
and she went to see her sister who had several kids, and her sister was basically saying, being a mom is messy, but it's great. And the sister's kid ran up with some brown stuff on the face. And the sister goes to the kid and says, "Hey,
Yeah, I
is
remember
that
that.
chocolate or is that poop? Is that chocolate or
Or
is
is
it
it
poop?" And the sister goes, "It's chocolate." And Tina goes,
what
"What
if
if
it
that
was
had been poop?" And the sister's like, "Messy." Yeah. I
yeah, that
love
was
that scene.
Baby Mama.
Oh yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I loved it because when I was a lot younger, I used to work with kids a lot,
Mm.
and and I remember how like chaotic it felt trying to, because so like the program that I was in was it was a youth center, and we would take the different age groups of kids on, like, outings, or they'd have a gym day or whatever. And so usually the whole group would be maybe 30, 40 kids, and each counselor would have like 6 to 10 kids that are like in their group or whatever within the larger group. And so, having to look after like 6 kids, usually who are not siblings. And so it's just 6 random little ones. And yeah, there's always something in their hand, there's always something
Always.
in their pocket, something on their shirt, on their face or
Yeah.
whatever. And
Messy.
I remember thinking, I remember thinking, I'm looking forward to fatherhood, but man, like I was thinking it'll be easier because I'm like, they'll be my kids, I'll
Yeah.
know their particulars, and they'll be around, versus like these little ones, I don't know them, and I can't smack them. Like if something really go crazy, I can't, you know what I'm saying? I can't do what I do, which is, not that I'm advocating that.
But I didn't know that you did that. This is a good part about your history that I didn't know about, that I would like to venture a little further into, because
Many
I was
moons,
talking about
many moons.
talking about that recently, that we don't all
Mm,
excuse me, we don't all
mm,
volunteer our
mm,
time and
mhm,
kind of give back to
mhm,
the youth. We don't really like involve ourselves in big brother programs like
mhm.
people used to, or be involved in Boy Scout. I don't know if they have Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts
Yeah,
anymore or whatever.
yeah.
So hopefully maybe to motivate or inspire some
Mhm.
men to want to step up to the plate in that respect. Can
Yeah.
you talk about some of the things that you got from it, some of the things that you
Yeah.
felt transformative from?
Like, I mean, I don't know how deep you want to get, but so the program was on, well, one of the programs was on a military base, and I was a part of it when I was a kid. And so because I knew so many of the people that ran the program, um, when I got when I was 12, they asked me to be a counselor with the young ones, because you're supposed to be 14 before you're a counselor. They just put me with the much younger group, so
Yeah.
the age wasn't as big of a whoop. So I got used to being like an older brother. I mean, I had a younger sister, to being more of a guardian of an older sibling, more so than when I was at home. I was just brother because my parents were there. But so you have to think differently when someone is your responsibility, and it kind of puts you in situations that are positive if you embrace it, where you kind of learn how to step forward in your maturation. And I was doing it because I was actually just being there while my mom was at work. But I actually started to really like it. So I continued into my teenage years. And then I was also part of like some like detention centers and places where like a lot of kids were in need of some support to kind of re-narrate the part of their life where they were not getting love and support from their immediate family or their environment,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
so from a very early age, uh, it was made very clear to me how blessed my life and my path was, because I was able to see the differences between these little kids that I was with when I was younger. And then as I got older, I started to see like a lot of younger ones and peers who, came from homes where, when they're feeling bad, their immediate family will make them feel worse, or their immediate family was the reason why they didn't feel bad in the first place. Like little stuff like that, I think is helpful for perspective, as well as you meet other people who can kind of reinforce the fact that, if you have a parent who is able to take the time to pay attention to you and love you and to teach you and to be available, it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Everybody doesn't have that, and everybody
Yeah.
doesn't even have parents who are willing. But some people's parents are willing. They just work so much by the time they get home, they don't really have a whole lot of, hey, how was your day? Because they're exhausted.
Right.
And there were some periods in my life where it was like that with my dad, but I never felt unloved. I just felt like he worked a lot, and by the time he would get home, he was exhausted.
Right.
And that is a part of being an adult. So, to kind of see it through the lens of these little ones, and then also to reflect and compare and contrast in my own life was very important. I would say the biggest significance of working with younger ones is just the opportunity to plant good seed in someone's heart. Because, for example, there was a little kid who I won't use his name, but he was not from a great home, and he would come to the one of the programs that I was a part of, and he would just act up. And for whatever reason, the guy that ran the program, you know what I mean? There's a difference between misbehaving and
acting up,
being mischievous. One story is once he was put in my group, I was about to say the guy that ran the program, for some reason, felt like that kid did a lot better in my group than with other people, because he was driving other people nuts. They were crying and stuff. So there was a one morning I got to the program, and I got dropped off, and I walked in and I see a small group of people huddled around center court in the gym, and that's where my group was, in the gym. In the mornings everybody has a certain area. Our group was in the gym, and so we walk in, everybody's huddled around. I see the boy I'm talking about, we'll call him Ack Up, right? I see him standing on the wall like this, and I see a little girl on the floor in the gym like crying. No, she was like this. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? So I go over to him because there were people attending to her.
And hold on, what age is this? Are the kids around?
I was 14, 15-ish. That group was probably 10, 11-ish, somewhere around in there. You know what I mean? Not a toddler, but not a teenager. The in-between time.
Yeah, gotcha.
So I'll go over to him. What's going on, man? What happened? Nothing. I was like, okay, so we're yelling nothing.
That was
got
fine.
it.
Fine.
Yeah. And he wouldn't crack. I was like, what happened, man? Like, why is she crying? Nothing. All right. So I'll go over and I asked the assistant head counselor what happened. And she said, he kicked that girl in the chest. It was a 10-year-old boy.
Let's hold on real quick. So what I'm thinking is the first two things that popped into my head is either, number one, get this kid on a Brazilian jiu-jitsu team now, because if he's able to jump kick or question mark kick this girl all the way in the chest at 10 years old, he's going to be a prodigy one day. Or somehow this girl was at a lower level and how she get there to where he kicked her in the chest. Those are first things that pop in my head.
That wasn't my thought. I wasn't thinking let's give him more skills to hurt people.
I mean, later in life it'll do you good. Maybe not for a 10-year-old girl, but I mean, you start knocking out the defending champion with a chest kick. I mean, they'll be like, hey, if it wasn't for that girl.
Wasn't there at all. My head was very much in the place of like, what reason could you have? The thing is, because the girl was not only is it a young girl, and a male's instinct is to protect a female, you know. So number one, I'm thinking, why are you kicking this little girl? But also, she was literally she was small, and I'm like, what could she have done that make you think I gotta kick her? Like, what are we talking about?
Right.
So they explained what was going on, and I was very young, so the way I handled it is not what I would do now. So what I'll say is, I'll paraphrase. I pulled him into a closet. I did not kick him in the chest.
You see how it feels?
I did not kick him in the chest.
That's how she's feeling right now.
But I didn't kick him in the chest. We're going to go on record.
Okay, on record.
I did not kick him in the chest. What I did was I tried to make that same impression, though. And I'm like, okay, I'm bigger than you. I'm stronger than you. I'm going to do what I want until you get the point. So we went through a couple of moments, and I was like, this is what it feels like for someone that is stronger than you, for them to use their strength to hurt you. Do you like it? No, of course not. It sucks. Let's not do that anymore ever, especially not if I'm here, because then I'm going to pull you back in this closet. So
In the
after
closet.
that moment, yeah,
Hold on, what?
there was a storage closet with like brooms and mop
Let's
boxes and
qualify this
stuff.
because
And
we
yeah,
live in a
I wasn't supposed to do it. We're not gonna get deep.
we
into
live
that.
in a
No,
weird world
no,
now.
we're
So
not
let's
gonna
just give a year. Are you gonna throw out a year? Can we get
a year?
Yeah, just tell us around so that people understand that hey, America's went through its
I don't know,
changes.
like 30 years ago. Like
Okay,
I went
that's all we need to
went
hear.
into
That's
what
enough.
to me felt like Big Brother mode.
Yeah, no, I get it.
You
I
know what I
respect
mean?
it.
I didn't hurt the boy, but I made him very uncomfortable, and I didn't
It was
hurt
like
him in any
scared
way.
straight
I
in the
just
closet.
kinda I really needed to make the point that what you did is wrong for reasons that you can understand. Like whatever she was doing, there was another option. There's some other option. And after that point, the reason I brought that up is because after that point, he was put in my group almost all the time, and he did a lot better. Well, eventually, I had to meet his parents. I'm sorry, it was from that situation, from the chest kick situation. They were about to pull him out, but that whole day, he was fine. Him and I were, he was put in my group, and he was getting along with the other kids. He was doing a lot better. So when his parents got there, the people that ran the program had to tell his parents, yo, your boy kicked this little girl, and her parents might need to talk to you, yada yada yada. It had to be addressed.
No, we
right?
need to talk.
Right.
We need to talk.
My point in saying that is because I got to talk. Remember, I'm 14. I don't really know nothing. I'm still a kid, but I got to talk to his parents, and I realized why he was very quick to rage. I'll just say it like that. I don't want to tell his business. Right. I realized why. I felt it coming from his
I mean,
dad.
you could tell his business because you didn't tell us his name, so we have no clue.
That's true, but I'm still because some of the people might be seeing this, and they might be able to connect dots, and I want to respect people's privacy.
We're gonna respect the distance.
Anyways,
I got it.
Yeah. So, anyways, I realized that his outlashes were a product of his environment, so to speak, and he was doing a lot better that day, way more so than in recent times. So I'm like, I feel like he's trying. And so I talked to the parents, and they were going to pull him out of the program. And I'm like, the last thing he needs is to be home more with y'all. For what, and my little kitty self, you know what I'm saying?
You the issue. You the problem.
Right? But I also knew that I was too young to really know that. It just didn't feel right. So I was like, yo, please let him stay in the program. He's in my group. If he has any other issues, I'll be around and I can talk to you or whatever. And they let him stay in the group. Point being, through the rest of that particular summer, he did a lot better, bro. He was doing a lot better. He was almost always with me, almost always in my group. Because when he wasn't, he would act up and they would put him back in my group. And so either he just wanted to be in my group, or for some reason our chemistry just worked, our relationship worked. Whatever the reason is, he did better the rest of that summer. And so many, many, many years later, I'm at home around the holidays, and he walks up. I was at a gas station or something, and he walks up, and I didn't recognize him. I was like, hey, what's up, man? He was like, yo, you remember me, but I used to be in the program, whatever, and you was real nice to me. I just want to say thank you. And I'm like, who are you? And he told me his name, and I'm like, yo. And he was doing very well. Dressed nicely, speaking nicely, doing, you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't say that I'm the reason for that, but I definitely planted a seed, because I'm like, yo, we don't hurt people. That's not what we're going to be doing. So if you want to stay in this program and have fun and go to the beach and go to the movies and go to the skating rink and do all this stuff, you got to act right. if you're gonna be around people and have the fun part of life, you gotta act right. And acting right is not hurting people. Like we ain't gonna do that. And he
And
did
so
his best to do
that was
better.
actually that was actually my next question was because you started out talking about wanting to plant the seed and the fact that it's
Yeah,
good to be able to plant good seed.
I'm
And
saying.
you know, a big part of planting good seeds for some of us is also being able to see the crop grow. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And so I was interested to know, were there any of the kids that you actually saw later on in life and were able to see
Yeah,
the product
very
of,
much
you
so.
know, your seed plus other seeds? I'm pretty sure that God
Yeah.
implanted in them.
Yeah, very much so. And I'll speak on that because how's my volume, by the way? I naturally yell. So
No, you're good.
is
You're
the
good.
audio good? I'll say this. This is an advanced perspective. So, anybody that's not there yet, don't stress. Um, I would encourage people to motivate yourself with the reality that you will often not see the benefit of that type of service.
That's a fact.
You often will not
You
see
often
that
won't.
growth. And one of the differences in my personal experience, um, one of the differences between childhood and adulthood is choosing to make life better for other people without the expectation or guarantee of a return.
Absolutely.
To me, uh, a good kid's perspective is I'm going to do well because I want the donut or I want the cupcake. I'm going to do well because I want to go to the thing that's fun or
The
whatever,
reward
right?
system. Yeah.
ROI, right? I'm going
Yeah.
to do this chore so I get $5 so I can buy some candy or whatever, right? That's a kid's mentality, right? And
Yeah.
that's fine for learning and conditioning, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But to me, one of the significant shifts in your adult consciousness is when you realize that helping someone is important because you are able to help, because you know how to, because you have the opportunity to, and because the other person might need it, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's enough. And if
That's
you
enough.
choose to do it,
Yeah.
you're putting love into the world versus soaking it all up for yourself. And, there's different paths for different people. I'm trying to put some love in the world because there's sometimes when I need it. So I'm like, let me put it all out I can. Let me be an open conduit to get all God's love out to people so that when I need to smack somebody on stage at an award show for making a pretty harmless joke, then I'll get some of that love back. I want to be a vessel for love in all those situations so that when I need it back, when I mess up, I'll get it back. I know it's oddly specific, but I was trying to crack a joke.
And I,
Vessel for love. I was thinking vessel for love, and I was like, who's a good example of a vessel for love? Yeah, Senior Smack. Yeah, he's a great example of a right.
no, I
Man,
mean
but
it's great.
hold on. I want to make this clear. I'm joking around,
Yeah.
but he has put a lot of love into the world.
He
He
absolutely
definitely
has.
messed up in that
He
moment.
absolutely has.
He's done a lot of loving
But
things. He's a loving
but
father.
that's
I'm saying,
that is the hard part about the journey of life.
yeah,
Is that you're always, not always, but sometimes you're judged in your worst moment, and it is much because severe negativity
yeah,
tends to weigh on the minds and hearts of people more because we don't see it every day, so that's why we
yeah,
run to go see the fight that's happening, like it stands out.
yeah,
We can't stop
yeah,
looking at the car accident. Then
yeah,
you get that becomes the thing that you're more synonymous with
mm-hmm,
than anything else. OJ
yeah,
Simpson
yeah,
was funny. He was an
yeah,
actor. He was one of the best running backs in history, both in college and in the NFL. Hall of Famer.
yeah.
Don't nobody talk about that.
Right, right.
They
All
talk
they talk
about the
about was
Bronco
murder. That's
and
it.
Nicole.
Yeah,
That's
like
it.
like
You
couple of murders, and all of a sudden he's not a good guy anymore.
and
Like, come on, guys.
and the sad part about it
That's so
is
wrong. I'm
it's
sorry.
almost like I ain't gonna use it. I'm not gonna use anybody else. I was gonna go into an Epstein connection, but I won't do it.
Oh, okay.
What I will say is, it's
Uh,
after that moment, you're not gonna outlive it. Put it together.
Yeah.
You're not gonna outlive.
I mean,
He won't be able to. I mean, I guess his is pretty
you can.
horrendous. His isn't a smack. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Will
Yeah.
can outlive the smack, but he only can outlive the smack if he outlives it with Chris. He'll never outlive it without Chris. That's my opinion. My opinion, he can exist, he can do other things, but that will always trail him. If there's ever a day where he and him almost like, Jay-Z and Nas, if he and him actually sit together, or more recent Drake and Meek Mill sit together and they're like, okay, we squashed it, all good, it's all love. We doing the Will Smith, Chris Rock smack tour, whatever, and it's like,
I mean,
it's in the past. Then they won't look at him like, oh yeah, you the dude that did that. But if it's just like,
you're speaking about from the perspective of other people,
right? The way the public
I
view of him, the
I
public viewing of him will always be, even if he keeps making great documentaries, make some more corny albums that everybody loves, some superhero movies. It is what it is. If he continues to do that,
bro,
people will still buy the album, watch the movie, but they'll always look at him with an asterisk like, but that was messed up what you did to Chris. But if Chris,
why are we dissing Will Smith? Like, was that a topic? Did you plan? I mean, I brought it up, so I guess it's my fault. I'm sorry, Will. This is taking a horrible turn. Oh my goodness. From the conversation about being a vessel for love, and now we're dissing his album.
Yes, we got all the way there, and it started with giving your time to children, and then somehow it got all the way to this point. Maybe someone should have been around Will when he was younger to get him away, but he had Uncle Phil and Aunt Vivian, and when he got in that one fight and he moved to Bel Air, so he should know that aggression and anger, that's not the way. Matter of fact, hold on. Speaking of that, let's transition. Let's transition. New topic. Since we're talking about sitcoms, I just brought up the Fresh Prince of Bel Air. You and I are intense fans of
fanatics. I'm a
sitcom. A fanatic. We can go with that.
You might be a fan. I'm a fanatic.
A fanatic of The Office. I would like to go to this next section by asking,
sure.
What are your top 5? Hold on, real quick. Let me because my man Jay Militant is in the chat and I couldn't see him at first. My apologies, Jay. I want to acknowledge his militants. His militants. So he said, kids need to have positive people around when the household might not be, well, my guess go, might not be that positive. That's a fact. That's a fact, Jay. That is a fact. Because they say it all starts at home. And if it don't start at home, then where do we go? Right? Like, he had step away for a second. If the old cliche of it all starts at home, if it doesn't actually start there, then where does it start? You need something. You got to either be able to go to like we talked about, Cub Scouts, Girl Scouts, whatever, and get some influence there, or go to church and get influence there, or go to Boys and Girls Club and get something there. And that's, I think that was actually why the conversation came up with someone recently, talking about how we don't donate our time to kids and have Big Brother programs anymore. I was thinking, kids need that. Kids might need that now more than ever. Drugs are at a whole new level than what they were. Single family households, single parent households are just as big in our communities. Weapons and gang violence, all that stuff is getting crazier and crazier by the day, yet we're more looking at the youth with criticism more so than with love, like CA was saying. So I agree with that 100%. He said even during his crazy life, he always tried, and even today, to teach and show the youth a more positive and constructive way of doing things and living life. Stay out them streets. Big facts. Big facts. And they need that. They need that because people don't always we assume when we see kids that have gone, the wrong direction, that somehow they didn't listen to the guidance of people that were in their lives, or they just kind of went off on their own. But sometimes you're right, people don't have the guidance. People didn't have,
Yep.
Someone like a CA to put good seed into them at a young age, to give them that man to man moment, where you're saying, look,
Yeah.
I get it, your emotions told you to do this. It's not
Yeah.
that we don't got to sit here and talk about, I don't have to chastise you about it. What I need to do is understand why you thought that, why you acted on that, because the more I figure out that, is the more I'm able to help you curve it and go into a new direction that will actually be more beneficial to you and the other person, and ultimately our communities overall.
Cash.
So I do agree with that. Hashtag stay out them streets. I'm with you, Jay.
Cash. So
Yo.
I got a phone call, and I guess a phone call completely messes up whatever the name of this program is. So I missed how we got on this topic. I do agree with what you just said, though. What are we talking about? How did we get from The Office to talking about kids and positive influence? What are we talking about?
So long story short, my man Militant in the chat brought up the fact that a lot of times for some kids, they don't even have that positive influence at home.
Yeah.
And when they don't have it at home, they need some place to get it. And so he was commenting on, on your contributions and just us talking about giving time and positivity back to the kids overall.
Well, that's what I was trying to. I apologize for my smaller points not really getting to the bigger point, but that's what I was trying to get at. That we don't realize how much we have to offer until you're in a situation to offer it.
That's a fact.
You don't know how much love you exude until you are around somebody that needs it, and you can kind of, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But especially with kids, every positive influence in their life is meaningful and notable. Because when you're surrounded by people that encourage you to be kind to other people, and people that encourage you to be helpful, and people that encourage you to be thoughtful in your behavior, and yada yada yada. When you are around a whole lot of that, it'll sink in. And when you reach a point in your life where you're pressed and that decision isn't as obvious, it's in your bones. You know what I mean? So when you find yourself in the adult situations where, life really presses you, and you have the option to lash out and hurt somebody for it, like to use that example having a memory of, I remember what it feels like for someone to hurt me by choice.
Yeah.
We're not talking about accidents or mistakes or misunderstandings. Like this was a dude that loves me, and he chose to give me some big brother jabs because he wanted me to get a point. And what's funny is, I was joking earlier about smacking kids for discipline, and that's a very, very widely gapped argument. People that don't believe in, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And my mom didn't either, but she would smack me sometimes. Like, my mom would speak to other adults that would just go to town on their kids, instead of talking to the kid, be like, yo, this is not what we do. This is a better way to do it. This is another option. Or even, what are you feeling that's prompting this behavior? Instead of, I don't like your behavior, so I'm going to smack you to get you to stop, instead of figure out what's going, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So my mom was much more about that. However, because my mom was so patient, I would push.
Yeah.
And
there's a tight line to walk, especially like as a parent that,
sorry, mom.
Like even right now, like we started and we spanked our kids. That's what we did. We heard everybody talk about how well behaved they were, how great your kids are, and we did it when it was appropriate. And if we felt like we are frustrated about something else between us, or frustrated about something else that's going on in life with bills or money, we both were under the
Yeah.
same understanding, like we don't spank them during those times because you don't want to accidentally start taking out, it's hard to separate those things in the mind. If you got anger, if you got frustration in you, and then your kid is doing something, and now you in the midst of trying to discipline that kid, you're not gonna know. And so we did good with that.
Yeah.
By the time we got to child number 3, actually somewhere during child number 2, we both talked about, is it the best? We went over the biblical directive of it.
Yeah.
We went
Yeah.
over the emotional effect that we have from it, or the kid may have from it. We went over the physical aspect of it. We went over the
Yeah.
historical fact of our own childhoods, and we got on the same page that it is, we feel like we have enough tools as parents to discipline without that. And so since then, it hasn't been excluded, but it is like a last resort.
That's as it should be. As
Yeah,
it
it's
should be.
something
Yeah.
that you have to go to such an extensive length
Yeah.
multiple times where we feel like,
Yeah.
okay, a new line has to be drawn. But because we're
Yeah.
very articulate with our kids and what we expect and how that makes us feel as parents, what we see in them and what we expect from them, they do really well. Like they
Yeah.
don't need it. And I think I
Yeah.
think
Well,
I think
I'll
our
tell you what my
generation is
dad said.
breaking that
Yeah.
that slavery mentality, because that's how I look at it. Like that's
Yeah.
what we did as slaves. That's exactly how I look
Well,
at it.
that's what was done to us as slaves. Yeah.
Exactly.
But so I'll tell you what my dad said, and my mom's perspective on physical correction, corporal
Yeah.
punishment, was very, very similar. She leaned much more on understanding why a child is behaving a certain way and taking the responsibility, to be the adult in the situation. That was her mentality. My dad would often talk to me in the conversations that were often with my mom, where my mom had a lot of stress being in environments where people were just smacking their kids, just um, for anything. Like, we would talk about that a lot. And so both my mom and dad would say to me, that is not how to raise a kid. You don't just smack a kid just because you don't like what they're doing or whatever.
Right.
And so my dad's explanation, um, um, I think, summed up what both of them would say to me. And he said, when a child is too young to understand, complex conversation or even just conversation, there are times where um, their behavior can hurt them or someone else, and immediate correction is often needed for their safety or for somebody else's.
Hmm.
And so he said, so
That's true.
he was like, you never pop a kid. And we're talking about pops and smacks. So we're not talking about beating somebody.
Right.
You know what I mean? That was never my home at all. But um, one of the examples he would give a lot is, if you see a kid reaching for a hot stove, you grab the hand. No, that's hot. No, don't do that. You do something else, the kid's reaching for the hot stove. Some people believe you just do that indefinitely, and I've seen in my life where, once the severity of correction is either plateauing or decreasing, the children who in that moment are engaging their need for consequential learning,
Hmm.
they will, try harder. They don't try less, they try harder, because they know, if I do this, the worst it's going to be is some words, because that's what keeps
That's
happening.
just very true.
And there's a there's an aspect of learning when it comes to danger that needs to be absolute.
Absolutely. That's a fact.
It needs to be absolute,
Yeah.
because if that child is doing something like trying to put a paper clip in an electrical outlet,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It is
Okay.
very true that it's a parent's responsibility or a guardian's responsibility to cover outlets until a kid is old enough to know better. That is very true.
Right.
But in a situation where a kid is away from home and not in a controlled environment, that kid still needs to know this could kill me. And so if a
Maybe
child
not
is
kill
too
them,
young to understand,
but it would definitely hurt.
I is it not possible for a child to be electrocuted by sticking something into an outlet? Like
No,
electrocuted to the deafness?
no, there's not enough voltage in like a standard outlet that would kill them, because most
Okay.
likely the breaker is going to shut off the voltage um once that current is redirected in that wing. I ain't gonna get
Really?
into electrical, but yeah,
But you're sure? I'm not gonna argue with you because I know you know that stuff.
yeah,
You're sure that there's no threat of death?
I'm sure there's a threat
Okay,
of maybe being
I'll take it.
shocked, possibly burned.
I'm sure they're gonna be shocked. Yeah.
You
So
get
what we'll
you
just
can get a
we'll just
spark
say
in the eye that could affect their vision. I mean, there's some things that could happen.
we'll say dire consequences. Maybe not death,
Right,
but severe
right.
consequences, right? And we are assuming that it's a normal standard 120. What if they trying to put something in a 240? I'm saying.
If
Anyways,
they find themselves
uh,
behind the dryer,
I'm saying maybe their uncle is renovating the house, bro.
they at the
Anyways,
main panel. That's got it.
anyways, point being, in a situation where someone's well-being is in is in jeopardy, or if their behavior is headed towards affecting the well-being of someone else in a significant way, there are some times where a smack might be necessary to get somebody's
Oh
attention
yeah,
and be like, oh,
absolutely.
this is serious. This is very serious.
Yeah,
So, and I know a lot of people disagree, and I get it, but I'll say that, I was smacked up a good bit, and it did not teach me to hurt people. I do not have a belief that hurting someone physically or emotionally is a good idea. And I have had to, as you know, I've had to endure
mhm,
incredible amounts of hurt from other people who were not taught that you don't hurt your loved
that's a
ones.
fact.
So,
That's a fact.
and
And you know what you
maybe getting my behind smacked up was helpful. Maybe it wasn't, but either way, I'm not out here smacking people. Like,
I mean, the proof is in the pudding. And like one of my biggest issues is when I'm in a restaurant and the person next to me has a child that's hanging over the seat. You know,
yeah,
they
smacking you in the head with the breadstick.
right, and they standing up on the kid's seat trying to reach over the table. I'm like, now if the kid falls and breaks this wine glass because you had a glass of wine to you know try to get this kid out your head, you're struggling. I see you're struggling as a parent.
Yeah,
This
yeah, yeah,
wine glass breaks a shard off in his eye. You're gonna be wanting to blame everybody but yourself.
yeah.
So yes, there are some.
And gonna want to sue the restaurant and all that. Then none of us can eat here because the place closed down because you ain't taking care of your kid. Smack them. See, easy.
But if you had if
Why are we still talking about
if
smacking
you
kids?
you're right. Let's move on. Top
Yeah.
five
Uh,
comedic sitcoms. Well, I guess sitcom. Uh, top five
oh, we're
sitcoms.
not being specific to the
No,
office.
no,
Okay.
no.
Okay.
Because I
Mm,
first talked about Fresh Prince of Bel Air in this transition.
hmm
So to
hmm
open it up a little bit, we'll get to it. Don't worry.
Top five. Top
Top
five.
five
What?
sitcoms of all time.
Jeez.
Yeah. Yeah. What you got? Top
You was
five
crazy. Like
sitcoms.
the top five question has always been difficult for me because I have an artist's and creative's heart.
Yep.
And so to
It's
compare,
tough.
you know what I
It's
mean?
tough. So what is it?
I would, yeah, it's hard, man. So what is it? The Office is definitely, it's one of my tops.
Okay.
The Office, Brooklyn
Brooklyn
Nine-Nine, I
Nine-Nine.
think is
Uh-huh.
crazy. For me, I mean, are we going contemporary sitcoms or classic
We
sitcoms? Are we
I
going all
I said
time? Because
I
good
said all
Lord.
time, but I love that people do that when they're trying to think and they say,
Well, it's
no, no,
hard
no, no, what
because
this is what you said. They
current,
say, well,
yeah,
for me, it's like, well, yeah, that the question is
yeah.
to you.
Well, I mean, for me personally, in my opinion, I think, yeah.
If
That's
I
just
had to tell you mine, I would say
if you were asking me, then I would say that in my opinion, I think I can go forever.
right.
Um, so I'm gonna leave it with contemporary ones because I feel like you can't compare contemporary sitcoms to classic sitcoms. They're very different. They're
I
very
don't
different.
disagree.
Um, my answer is going to be contemporary ones
Okay.
right now. So
Okay.
I'll say The Office,
Uh-huh.
Brooklyn
Uh-huh.
Nine, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. We absolutely love that show. It was. I'm sad that it ended. It's incredible on so many levels. I think it's hilarious. Um, 30 Rock.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
I see you're a comedy type. I see it. I can
yeah,
see it in your choices.
man.
So
Maybe Parks and Rec.
yeah, you went
Like
straight down. Yep, yep. I see you.
that's just
I see
that's
you.
such a hard. But because like for example, we also love Young Sheldon.
Young Sheldon's
That
funny.
show is
Yep,
hilarious.
yep.
Um, there's just several that I would put in.
Okay,
But
but
if
those are
I
those
had
are
to
your
identify
five.
three,
Those are your five
I
now.
hate having to choose. So Office,
Office,
Brooklyn,
Brooklyn.
and these are not in order. The Office is my favorite comedy
Okay,
by
Office,
far. The Office, Brooklyn
Brooklyn Nine,
Nine-Nine, 30
30
Rock,
Rock. You skip one.
Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, and Parks and Rec.
Okay, so I have not seen Marvelous Mrs. Maisel
It's
at
very good.
all. I watched
It's very
Brooklyn
good.
Nine, but not enough to really know it. Like when people say, like,
It's very
I
good.
watched The Office, but I didn't get it. Like, yeah, you didn't watch enough. You didn't, because you can't watch The Office is literally like an office. Like you couldn't go work at a place for a day and then
Yeah,
leave
and to
and
get it,
really
yeah.
get you need to
But
be there.
I mean that's true. That's true. But like because so much of my life has been in the arts, there is an unmistakable truth, an undeniable truth that different disciplines and different examples of disciplines really do speak to different people. Some people do not enjoy overtly crass and edgy humor.
That's true.
And The Office is very like you got to be okay with sexual innuendo and actually explicit sexual comments. You have to be okay with offensive humor.
Yeah.
Some people ain't cool with that. And so even if they watched a lot of episodes, they just might not feel it because it's just not their thing. Like they would be unhappy in an environment like that. Versus me,
Uh-huh.
I couldn't wait to get back to work if I worked there. This is hilarious.
Right.
Just
Absolutely.
the fact that there's so many different characters
Oh yeah.
in one place. I love
It's
that. I
perfect.
love people who like I don't know any. That's one of the reasons I love you so much. I don't know anybody else like you.
Mm.
Nobody. Think about my friends.
Yep.
You, Jason, Dolly, Ricky, Kenny, like all these people that I'm close to, they're very unique.
Yeah. They're all different.
How many people you know like Kelly?
Right.
Like you've never met my younger sister? Nobody else on earth like her.
Wow.
She's a ball of sunshine, in my opinion, and there's nobody else like her.
So real quick,
And it's great that she's my sister, but yeah, what's up?
Dub City asks. He said
Dub.
Cash, so he's asking me, but I guess we can respond. He's asking.
I'm the guest, Dub. I'm the guest.
He's asking. So what is a classic? Like what makes it classic? Because somebody might look at The Office as
Yeah.
classic. Like it's done, it's over.
What, yeah.
You know what I mean?
One of the biggest differences I would say. Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. He asked you.
No, I'm gonna let you answer. I'm gonna let you answer, please.
Um, I mean, I'm not a professional in TV, so like my thoughts are much more like audience based.
Sorry. I hate to cut you off. I see what he's saying. I didn't read it properly. What he was talking about was the moment between us was classic. Because you said it's tough, real tough. And I said, so what is it? So he was saying that was a classic Cash moment. That's why
that is very us, very much
got
so.
it. Okay. Now I understand. My bad.
Very much so. Yeah.
This is why you got to pay attention to punctuation. You know, I kind of skipped over the quotation marks and didn't get it. Okay, so if you had to give me an elevator speech to the marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Oh, okay.
All right, you got an elevator. It's a big elevator, you know.
Yeah,
it's a big one.
We're going all
the way up. So I give you around 60 seconds or so, but give me your elevator speech to get someone to watch, to sit down and watch. Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Elevator speech. I would say right off the cuff that my love of the show is because it encompasses a lot of things that I believe to be like the pinnacle of performative art. The music in the show is great. The acting and performances are incredible. The character development from before the show, like the characters they created before they began the arcs within the show, I think are great because to me the first episode was amazing. Before they even had time to go through the process of developing the characters are just very dynamic. The premise is realistic, and the pacing is very, very fast. The culture is informative and relatable because the most of the show is about the culture of the beginnings of comedy as it became popular in this country, and I'm a stand-up fanatic, so seeing them talk about the path of a comic is a big deal to me because I really, really love art in general, and stand-up is a particular discipline that I have a lot of fascination and love for.
Okay, this is
So
my
that was great.
my floor.
We ain't to the floor yet.
I'm getting
no, we ain't up
this
there
is my
yet.
floor. So was that show funny? Is it funny or is it the drama?
Very.
It's a funny show.
It's both. No. That's why I love it is because
You look so
it's
serious.
a lot.
You look so.
It's I would say it is a comedy. I would put it in the comedy category, but they do an incredible job of taking you through the life of the main character, and nobody's life is funny all the time. Nobody's life is dramatic all the time. Nobody's life is sad all the time. So I think they do a good job of taking you through and on her path. And the character they created is an incredible character. And the actress that plays the main character is an incredibly emotive actress. And to me, it's an immaculately well done show on many, many, many levels. It definitely is a comedy because there's some moments that it's definitely a comedy. But it also takes you through the struggle of perspective. You know, they talk a lot about the perspective of a woman who is a husband and a woman who's a husband, a woman who is a wife and a mother and also a daughter, because the show features her life with her parents, her life with her in-laws, her life with her husband, her life with her kids, as well as her life on stage, her life with her manager, her life with promoters, her fellow comedians. So all of these different relationships have dynamicism. So you know, a lot of moments of, I mean, she is a comic, so the show is a comedy because so much of the show is her being on stage and showing people I'm really good at this, and she's hilarious. So you
Sir,
know,
sir, you've walked with me down the hall all the way to the
it's all
door
right.
of my
You ain't
hotel
got nothing to
room.
do.
I,
This Friday, this your
you,
day off. You just here to get your check. It's all right.
I
It's fine.
just saw you looking at the show on your phone. I just wanted a
Yeah.
little rundown.
Well, when
But
you want brief, don't ask me because I'm.
uh,
I don't know what to
no,
tell
I'm
you.
gonna
I
check
don't
it
know what to
out.
tell
I'm gonna
you,
check it out.
Frank.
I haven't.
Yeah,
I honestly have not
it's
seen
really
that
good.
show at all. But I've seen,
Hmm.
ads for it or whatnot. Just never really got into it.
It's really good.
Okay,
I
so
think it's one of the best shows like in recent years. It's really good. It's very like. Do you like musical theater?
some depends on how
So
it's done.
yeah, like I was saying, it's a combination of so many different disciplines. It's focuses on stand up, family dynamics. It's definitely a comedy. It's a show that explores the relationship of marriage as well as what happens through the course of raising kids. You know what I mean? It's a lot. It's really fast paced. So if you don't like really fast paced, you know, theater kind of feeling, you know, scenes and stuff like that,
Yeah.
might not be for you because it's really fast paced. But I love it. I love it. Yeah.
Shows like that I feel like are like you have to have a very good comedic ear to pick up.
Yeah.
So there's a show
Yeah.
on, I think it's on HBO. It's called South Side, and it's based in South Chicago, and it's like a furniture leasing company. So they deal with
Okay.
leasing out furniture to
South
people,
side.
and then they also deal with having to go repo stuff that was leased that hasn't been paid for that they ain't trying to
Oh,
give
okay.
back. But it's
Okay.
similar to where it doesn't feel like it's moving fast, but the comedy is fast. Like they just sneak
Okay.
it, you know what I mean? They sneak it in. So if you're not
South
paying
side.
attention and you don't have a good ear for that, it's like
Yeah.
you'll miss it. You can sit there 10
Yeah.
minutes and be like, they ain't really said nothing funny, but it's like
Yeah.
you didn't
Yeah.
catch it. When he said that, it was
Yeah.
because
I'll check it out.
it's a good show. It's a good show. It pulled
South
me in
side.
like
I got it. I got it pulled up, man. I'll check it out. I
South
don't
Side.
recognize anybody.
South Side. Matter of fact, I just came from Chicago. Um,
What are you doing in Chicago?
my wife had a work what do they call it? Some kind of like a business meeting of sorts where it was like all the company comes out and they set everybody up in the hotel and meet and greets and all that, especially in this day and age when everybody's working from home. So I got to just go be a trophy husband, hang out, walk around the Great Lakes and all of that. It was a great time.
Yeah.
Like I
Dope.
really love
Dope.
Chicago. Like that city.
Okay.
Let's say it this way. I was there for 4 days, and by the fourth day, I was on Zillow trying to see like what does it cost to live out here. The
Yeah.
culture's great, the architecture's amazing. There's such a
Yeah.
history in the town.
Yeah.
I mean, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful
Yeah.
place. I went to the
Yeah.
same diner every single morning. I had different things because the diner had so many different options. And
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna do something I've never done on a vacation. It's like go to the same spot every
Yeah.
day. I'm a man of variety, so I like
Yeah.
want to try
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
And so by the third day, they knew me. Oh, you
Yeah.
wanted this, you wanted. I'm like, yeah, this is cool. I
Yeah.
want to live here. You don't get
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
in Cali. So, what
Yeah.
was the last place that you visited that you felt like, man, outside of the LA area, I could really live here? And it can't be Georgia.
Dude. I mean, I've been touring a lot, Cash. So like that happens. That happens a lot. Um, I'm trying to think of. I mean, the place that sticks out. Okay, your question is where have I been
recently? What was the
where I
most
felt
recent
like
spot?
I could live there?
Yeah.
Jeez, you ask complicated questions. Well, if I kind of take out what I don't know, because my head goes to I don't know if I can live here because I don't know what I don't know, and technically you
Right.
can live anywhere if you got food to eat. Um, but I would say
Now
the
that
last
right
time I
there,
really
if anybody listening doesn't know, that right there is a classic CA answer. Technically, you can live anywhere as long as there's food. That is
I
my guy
mean
right there.
food and water, like you
That
would be able to live. Um, I think
is the
that's why like con- questions like that are harder for me to answer because I'm thinking about the literal meaning of your words. And the point is, you're asking me, where's the last time, when is the last time I was at a place and I liked it? I think is your point. Um, but probably Hawaii. So we often will do residencies at the Blue Note in Honolulu,
I
and
know the Blue Note.
yeah, and Honolulu is a very large city, but it's in
Shout out to
Hawaii.
my Ohana.
Yeah, and so
You said, but
the
it's in Hawaii.
yeah, because like to me, feeling like I'm in Hawaii is different when I'm in Honolulu. So it's a bit of a
Mm,
hybrid in that city in
yeah, that's true.
particular,
It is
because
different.
the other islands you feel much more. You feel like you're much more in someone's home and they're welcoming you there. That's how I feel in Hawaii. I feel like I'm in somebody else's home. This
Yeah,
is their area, but
yeah,
I'm welcomed to be there, right?
yeah.
In Honolulu, traffic and horns and businesses and Coach stores and Sears and you know, skyscrapers and stuff. You know what I mean? It feels like you're in LA, but
Yeah,
everywhere is beach.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I
So
will
it's
say
just different.
it.
Yeah.
You like you said, the other islands feel like someone's home. I think that's a great analogy for the feeling that you
Yeah.
do get in Hawaii. It's not.
Yeah.
You also get that in Oahu, just not in Honolulu.
Mhm.
So if you go to
Mhm.
other areas of Oahu, you also get it on that island. So I was just saying it's not just the other islands, but it is
Yeah.
everything
That's
outside of
I was
Honolulu.
speaking of the
Yeah,
city specifically.
yeah,
Honolulu is a cool place, but it just if and it's not. I'm not even speaking about it negatively. It just feels more like I'm in Atlanta or LA when I'm in Honolulu. I
yeah,
feel like okay, I'm in the city. We got to get right.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I
Definitely.
like being there because the hotel is right across the street from the venue, and the venue is right on the beach.
Nice.
So
Yep.
like when we
Sure is.
go there, it's just nice. There's a fresh food market right next to the hotel where they have like fresh poke and a lot of veggies, and it's a small place, but it's full of like healthy food.
You be eating pokey?
So
You be eating the pokey?
yeah, all the
You
time,
be
bro.
eating the pokey?
So
Okay.
once the per diem is used up,
Yeah.
I can just go next
Yeah.
door and get a very healthy salad that's delicious because the fish is fresh.
Beautiful.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
it's the best. And I went there just like you were saying, I went there almost every day because I blow through per diem very quickly.
A
Everything costs
side
less.
note, Dub City asks,
Yeah.
what's wrong with GA? Nothing wrong with GA. Anybody in Georgia, nothing wrong with it. But that's
Did
where
somebody say something's wrong with GA? You dissing GA, bro?
that's where CA is from. And I'm saying it's easy
Yeah.
to go back home and feel like, man, I could live here. I just wanted to hear
Oh, because
him
you were saying
with an answer
somewhere else.
outside of home.
Yeah.
That's what I meant by that.
Yeah.
So
I
shout
got
out
you.
to
Yeah,
GA. We good.
I'm from Augusta, Georgia, and so for me, Georgia is home. So his point was I can't use home as a somewhere else I want to live.
Right.
But I'd probably say Hawaii because it's a beautiful place. Plus, my wife is very happy there. Like she's a nature person. She loves being outside. She loves being outside.
Yeah.
She's very she's very sunshiny. You know what I mean? I'm insidey. I like being inside. I like air
I'm
conditioning. I like
inside.
studio, bro. You know what I'm saying? I like TVs and internet. She loves to be outside, and so she's very happy. when we're there. So that's a big deal. And everywhere I've been, people have been very friendly and very loving, very welcoming, and that's a big deal for me. The food is great. I really like Hawaiian cuisine. I love the fact that they're so open and sharing with their culture and kind of learning, what's normal for us, what's particular for us, where we come from, where are we now. These are the things that matter to us. These are the things that matter in this area. That's a big deal. And I have a lot of friends that I've met in Los Angeles that are from Hawaii, and they kind of still echo that same, you know, we are all one, let's all be together kind of thing. And that's very me. So
Yeah.
I really liked being in Hawaii. That's probably the only place I can think of where I thought if I lived here, would it feel the same as visiting?
Right, right.
And
That's a big
and
difference.
every time I've been there, yeah, you kind of get that vibe.
Yeah, that's a big difference. And I have a story that's kind of echoes that sentiment about it feeling more like warmth and family, and there's a
Yeah,
community to it. I went
yeah,
to Diamond Head to go hiking,
yeah,
right? Well, of
yeah,
course you hike
yeah.
Diamond Head. So we rented mopeds, rode out to Diamond Head,
Mopeds.
hiked the mountain, go to the top. If no one's been there and you get a chance, you make it to Honolulu and you have the time and you have the physical ability and endurance, look up Diamond Head Mountain and go for one of the best hikes that you've ever had. It will be one of the most challenging hikes, but at the end, it is the greatest payoff to a hike that I've ever had in my life.
Mm,
The greatest payoff. You will stand amongst the top point of the coast of Oahu and view the
nice.
entire coast and the Pacific Ocean from a vantage point that you just couldn't believe. A vantage point that
Nice,
even photos don't do it justice. You just have to do it. So we go and
nice.
do that.
Yeah.
Go back to the car. I mean, go back to the mopeds and ride away. Later on, or on the way back to the hotel on the moped, I realized I don't have my wallet. Trust me, if you lose your wallet during the hike up Diamond Head, you don't want the wallet no more. You just don't want it no more. And so I went back thinking, okay,
Yeah,
maybe it fell out my pocket when I was getting off the moped, blah, blah, blah.
yeah.
Drove back, looked around, couldn't find it, left. I'm like, if it's up there, it's up there. I
Yeah.
told my wife, I said, I trust Hawaii. And I said, the island will give it back. That's what I told her.
Prophetic. Getting
I
prophetic
said,
with
the
it. All right.
island will give it back. Do you know that around 3 weeks later, at my house, arrived a package that was my wallet?
And it was sent from the
It
island.
was sent from the island. The island sent it. It literally said, Oahu, yeah, it's me. That was the sender.
Intact.
Right.
That's cool.
Yeah, no, I actually had
And in parentheses, my name is Jeff. Yeah.
I don't so the actual way that it got there was
Yeah.
there was someone that found it. That person took it to the park associates, the park, employees. They found it wasn't my they didn't want to. Oh, that's what happened. They didn't want to send it to the address on my ID because sometimes your new address, you may not have the same address. Your current address might not be the same. So what they did was they called one of the um uh one of the banks that I had a debit card with,
Yeah.
informed them, and asked the bank to inform me and to call them. So then I called them with
Hmm.
my number, gave them my current address, and then they sent it to me. And I said, I told you. I didn't have to stress. And I know it sounds
Yeah.
prophetic and it sounds a
Yeah.
little, whatever, but I kid you not, when I said the island will give it back to me, I believed it and I didn't think about it for the rest of the trip. My wife was like,
Mm.
oh, I'm so frustrated. I can't believe you lost your wallet. I mean, she wasn't mad at me. She was just mad at the fact, like, I wish
Or she didn't tell you she was mad at
she was
you.
like, I just know that, she felt like I'm gonna be in a bad place because I lost something. And I kept trying to reassure, her, like, no, I'm good. Like, trust me, I got your money. I'm good. I get to
Good.
keep
I'm
my
good.
money.
I got your
Like,
money.
like my bank account,
We're gonna be
my
fine.
bank accounts, my
Yeah.
credit, they stay exactly where they are. I'm like better than I probably would have been. We use yours. Like,
This way, all of our money will be spent from your account. I'll be fine. This is a good thing. We don't have to go through the conversation about who's gonna pay for it.
at
This is great.
all. You,
This is great.
you.
The island is helping me.
But yeah, shout out to Hawaii, man. I
Yeah.
love that
Yeah.
place. In comparison,
Yeah.
when I go to Mexico, hey, my Latinas, I love y'all, but Mexico always makes me feel like I'm getting conned, I'm getting stolen
Oh,
from,
really?
and over I have been conned and stolen. I went to a gas
Oh,
station
wow.
on the way back to the airport to turn in to rent a car. Do you know that the gas station attendant got me? Because you don't
How
pump your own
so?
gas out there, right? You don't pump your own gas.
Okay.
And so I went to
Yeah.
Palmet, I forgot the name of the gas station. So there's attendants standing on the islands. The attendant, he's like, you don't pump your own gas, we do it. And he takes the card, asks how much you want, and then he goes, swipes it, and pumps the gas. Well, he swiped it, then he came back and said, oh, that card got declined. And I'm like, well, that's not a thing. He's like, yeah, we just need a different
Yeah.
card. So I'm like, all right, whatever. I give him a different card. You're at a gas station. You're not only at a gas station, you're at a gas station that's as synonymous with as Shell is here or Chevron is in America. You're seeing
Okay.
it everywhere. So it's not some
Yeah.
one-off gas station. So I give him the other card, no biggie. He goes, swipes it, pumps the gas. I'm still like, but I wonder why was it declined? That don't make sense. It's not until I'm back in the States, because again, I'm going to the airport. So it doesn't happen
Yeah.
immediately. It's not until I get back here and my phone gets back, I get service again from being on airplane mode from the plane. And I'm getting these messages saying, like, oh, there was a fraud alert and this and that and the other. And it shows 2 transactions at the gas station. And I'm
Okay.
like, and the first transaction was for way more than I said I wanted on the gas. Like,
Oh.
like I couldn't have
Like
got
what? Like couple hundred, couple thousand? What they do?
few hundred. It might have been
Okay.
like $400 or something like that.
Okay.
Driving
Yeah.
like a 2-door coupe. I mean, and gas
Yeah.
is cheaper out there. Like, what are we talking
Yeah.
about? At least I think it is, because
Interesting.
the ratio, like converting currency, is so
Yeah.
odd. You know what I mean?
You know what's crazy to me about stuff like that? Like, I mean, obviously there's the risk of punishment and incarceration,
Right.
with running scams on people. Or to me, that's just it's another form of hurting people. It's stealing from somebody. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean?
Absolutely.
Taking, right? Obviously, there's the concern of legal repercussion, but we've talked a lot about how much I struggle with choosing to take from somebody else in general. Is it I don't know. There's just a place in my heart where I want to give to people. I don't want to take from them.
Right.
But more importantly, I guess, or more confusingly, is everybody doesn't just forgive and forget. And I think as a result of the recent traumas and the related past traumas in my life, I'm at a point now where I'm like, I don't understand how easily people discount the reality that some people will come back and they will kill you. Like over something as small. No, and I don't mean that playfully at all. I'm like, how do you get past the reality that you don't know someone's ability to control their temper? And if you push the wrong button, some people will come after you. And why would you want to give someone a reason? And then why would you want to live life with all of these reasons to look over your shoulder? Like,
Right.
but I guess because it would matter to me. So I don't take that path. It's a bit amazing to me how easily so many people will make that choice to just have this trail of destruction in their life that is active. Because, dude, you might go back to Mexico, and if you see that dude, then it all comes down to, where are you from? Where in terms of the place in the country, where is in what was normal in your home, and where as in what's been happening in your path up to that moment where y'all interacted, and what happened since,
Right.
and now you're back.
You don't know
And
what you don't know what somebody's gonna do to get revenge. And we're
saying,
back at OJ. So we might as well continue. We might as well just
why are we back at OJ?
I'm saying you're right. You never know if you wrong somebody what they're gonna do to get back. You just really don't know. You just really don't know.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you take dude, right? Like you take dude. Who knows what was happening in his life? You know, I've definitely lived long enough and seen enough to know that, you know, when people are in high pressure places in their life, when you know, when they feel like their back is against the wall or whatever, when people feel desperate, they make drastic decisions.
Yep.
It's not always just a matter of someone being selfish or greedy or whatever. It's not always that simple.
True.
But even still, you know, I'm thinking, you know, if you feel like you have no options and you have to run some scams in order to survive, still, I'm like, that decision increases the likelihood that your survival will be harder. Because again, right, in this moment, I'm hungry, I want a sandwich, so I see this dude that I think is a chump, and I run this scam. Now I got a couple $100. Maybe I do it for a couple months, and I get some thousands, right? One of them is coming back. One of them is coming back. Like, so forever, I'm gonna have to do the face-off switch so that I look like Nicolas Cage. So somebody will be like, "Hey, you the dude.
Yeah.
You know what happened to me after you did the thing?"
Right. Yeah. Some people they're living so much in the moment, which is normally a good thing. They're living so much in the moment that they're not.
I'm saying,
I get it.
Where's the balance, baby? Where's the balance?
Where's the
Right
balance?
now, you need this money. But tomorrow, if you straight, the person you stole from, they need their money now. Now, what we talking about? We talking about death. Right? There's no other options.
There's not one other option. All right, so
I mean,
I know we running. You know, we've been on here for a while. This is a great episode so far.
Have we?
Happy you here.
How long has it been?
I know we're gonna have
2:00. Okay.
I know we're gonna have future episodes where we discuss more. You know, we discuss the husband life in deeper context. You know, The Office. I definitely want to have a whole episode or more dedicated to just The Office.
I'm down.
Right?
Yeah. I can talk about The Office all
and
day.
So, and I'm glad you said that, because I did want to jump into this last segment, and it is going to be around The Office, and I'm going to try to make it as finite as possible so we don't gloss into the full spectrum, which is The Office world, right?
Got it.
If you had to name one, I know you're going to be able to name more than one.
Oh my God, with this.
If you had to name one, at least I'm not giving you a top 5. If you had to, not name. If you had to just choose one person in the cast of The Office who you feel is one of the most underrated contributions to the overall comedic hilarity of the show. But he's underrated. Maybe he's not talked about like a Dwight or a Jim
He or she.
or she. My apologies. He or
Yeah.
she is not talked about like a Dwight or a Jim or a Michael, but man, they serve such perfect comedic
Yeah.
offerings. They're just so
Yeah.
super underrated. Who would that person be?
I have to choose one.
For the sake of this conversation and our episode coming to a close, I'm gonna ask for just one. We can continue the conversation, pick it up the next time I got you in the studio.
Okay. And we're talking about someone who is underrated that serves as helpful to the overall show or in any given moment.
In any given
Because that's
moment.
different.
Any given moment. Anybody who stands out to you, even if they're not in every episode, but when they are there, it's underrated what they bring anytime they're on camera.
Holly Flax.
How that is a good one.
Yeah.
That is a good one.
Yeah, I'd probably say Holly Flax.
That is a good one.
Because I mean I had other thoughts, but I would say the most underrated. So I can't remember if you're in it, but there is a very large Facebook group on The Office, and we talk about stuff all the time. And I noticed that, aside from the people that you can obviously tell have issues that they're projecting into the cast, aside from that, I noticed when people talk about Holly's character and what she represented, I usually feel like they miss the point of her character. And so I'll say, I don't know what the writers intended, but as the recipient of their writing of the story, to me, Holly represented the part of reality that Michael wanted, as well as the part of reality that he didn't have experience with yet. And so just in many ways, she kind of embodied his inevitable step forward and what it's like to go through the refinement process. So just last night I told you I had an industry hang kind of thing where part business, part personal. But the individual I was chilling with, we talk a lot about life, which if you're around me, we're gonna get deep. We'll get as deep as you want,
Pause.
And so I wasn't doing. I was totally good. I was totally good. But I was like, nah, let's be safe. But one of the things we were talking about was during that conversation, there was a moment where he was talking about what it felt like to receive some significantly opposing new information about something we were all talking about. And he felt very frustrated that he was given the wrong impression on the subject. And now we were talking about something very real and very different. He was like, I'm almost frustrated at how I was given so what I said to him was the same thing I feel like people miss about why Holly's presence mattered to Michael. It was more than just he wanted to be with her. It was more than that. She represented a paradigm shift for him. And as I was talking with my friend last night, paradigm shifts are always hard because we yearn to feel the security of understanding. We want to reach a point to where we feel like this part of my life is no longer a struggle, right? We're all seeking peace. We're all seeking shelter. We're all seeking security and safety. We're looking for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so when your path hits or point where something that you thought was settled and is now consistently assured, when that ground gets taken out from under you, it can be terrifying. And as you know, that's what I've just gone through, a very significant and major and painful paradigm shift, right?
Absolutely,
Well,
yeah.
what matters in that moment, and I promise you I will make it make sense to Holly and Michael, what matters in that moment is to remember that what we saw as guaranteed might have changed, but there's only certain aspects that are different. It's not, but in the moment, we often feel like nothing is real because what I thought was certain, I now can see isn't, right?
Yeah.
So in those times, you have to be open to learning this thing is different, this thing isn't. All of this is the same, but this isn't. All of this is the same, but this, right? There's some things that are different that you have to adjust to, that maybe God is burning off, or that God is preparing you for that's to come, right? So with Michael, the whole show is about Michael's heart for people, Michael's love for people. That's the whole show. They use his ignorance and his impatience and his loneliness for comedic fodder, right? And it's incredibly awful sometimes,
Sure.
but at the at the heart of his character is his loneliness and fear of being in life alone. That's why he fights so much with his staff about them accepting his worldview, which is, we are a family
We're a
here.
family, yep.
We're supposed to be helping and depending on each other. We don't abandon each other. We don't hurt it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why I like the show,
It's dope.
because that's how my heart is, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, the problem with the show is that he's a very childish and immature person when it comes to how he affects other people. And once he realizes that he's affecting someone negatively, he does the right thing. And I can't think of any situation off the top of my head where he realized that he was wrong and he stuck to his guns and did it anyway. Right? So Holly coming into his life.
Well, hold on. There was
away.
that episode when they were in the warehouse and he was being told over and over to get off the forklift. But maybe your point is maybe he still didn't know that he was wrong, because you said he has to know or recognize that he was doing something wrong, and he did keep. Okay,
because because a lot of people that I've walked with and that I've been a part of their life, they've been a part of mine, where I felt like they were in complete knowledge of how their decisions, language, or behavior will affect someone else, or they've already seen it and they still continue. And
yeah, I get that.
I have issues in that area because that's a very disheartening thing to experience from someone that you think is your friend.
That's absolutely true.
It's hard.
Absolutely true.
So with him, when Holly came into his life,
here we go. We back at Holly. Here we go.
Yeah, he's very smitten. He's very blown away. He's very attracted to her, and he does
not at first. Not at first. There was a
not at first.
There was like a beat in there where because she was HR.
Couple of minutes,
right? Just a couple of minutes where she was HR, and then all of a sudden she made some jokes at HR, and he was like, "Huh,
okay." Yeah.
Oh.
So, but very once he knew her,
right,
he was blown away. Right. He was very, very much infatuated. He got past that point through a healthy process, which was he allowed himself to be vulnerable with someone that he already knew and already trusted that loved him. Right. That's a big deal.
That's huge.
Holly represents that part of his journey where he's learning if you go about this the same way, you will get the same result that has not worked for you.
Right.
You need to open yourself up to a different possibility. That's what Jim was for him. He kept talking to Jim, and Jim's like, yo, get to know her.
Yeah.
Be a friend, bro. Do that first, right? And
Yep.
guess what? It didn't work, right? He became her friend. He took his time. And then she ended up with this. I mean, it's because she had to leave, but she had to move away. And he had to continue to try and do the right thing. Eventually, he had to be very vulnerable about the fact that I don't like this. I'm still in love with you. I don't understand what the deal is. He had to take that risk.
That was after he thought he had herpes.
That too, but it was once she came back. Once she came back and she was trying to be all professional, she's still trying to make stuff work with the other guy. He's like, yo, what is this?
Oh
Like, I
yeah,
love you.
when he threw
He obviously doesn't want what you want. You want to be married.
doll.
She represented him needing to go for what he wanted, vulnerably, and also with respect, which was a challenge for Michael. It's very difficult for him to do that. So I think she represents a significant paradigm shift in his character's mentality that was necessary for them to work. For him to get what he wanted, he had to step forward into a place, and so did she, but he had to step forward into a place that was uncommon and unfamiliar for him in order to grow, because you can't be in a relationship and invest your emotion in what you want. It has to be a balance of what the other person wants, and I think that's what she represents. I think they did well at having her also have to go through some growth in order for the two of them to work, and eventually they found the common ground that matters more than all the rest of the crap that they went through, which was they want to live their life together. They love each other. They get along. They want the best for each other. Holly needed some support to help with her parents, and Michael didn't hesitate. He's like, yo, if you need me, I'm there. I think that very much matters.
Yeah,
And
Dad wasn't
it's
doing
in
too well.
direct opposition to his whole character type was the office family is the family. But once he was presented with the option to actually have a real family and not coworkers, he jumped at it. And the whole rest of the show, everybody's like, Michael, we are coworkers. We're not family.
Because they actually have a family or some level of a life.
They were right and they were wrong. He was right and they was wrong. I think Holly represents the fork in the road that he needed in order to kind of see through what was always his character flaw, which is delusion. Yeah, bro. What you got to say to that?
I will say that you gave a great breakdown of a character in the show that, like you said, was pertinent to character formation, a paradigm shift.
Yeah.
And though this character does actually build on my question, you ain't answered my question at all. My question was that she added to the comedic offerings.
Yeah.
And so then you gave me and that's what I'm saying. I think that the character really does.
I'll be more
but your breakdown was very much dramatic.
I got super emotional and super deep
and family.
I can respect that. Yeah. I think she added a significant level of conflict, and from conflict comes character. My understanding is what's the expression? There's an expression in comedy. It's something like tragedy plus timing. I think it is something like that.
Yeah.
But she represented that fork in the road. And in my opinion, the process of her and Michael getting to know each other, as well as when she had to leave. Dude, are you telling me that the episode when he had to take her home wasn't both tragic and hilarious? When he had to go up with her to wherever she was going, I can't remember the city. The truck ride with Daryl. It's hilarious. And he's
Hilarious.
freaking breaking down and crying, and Daryl is like, "Can we
He's like,
please
hey,
do?"
I just need to talk. Hey,
Yeah,
call me back. Please. Call me back.
I'm saying it was heartbreaking, and they were able to find humor in that. And
When Michael
I think
fell
it's
asleep, and then,
yeah,
then
yeah, 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 yeah. It's hilarious. I think
hilarious.
Holly's
Hilarious.
character was necessary for that because I don't think he would have been all that for just anybody. He went through some crazy stuff with other people, but I think Holly opened that door for both. And I mean, you know me, dude. I'm a bit of a hopeless romantic, so that part was significant for me. That's why I focus on that in my answer. But I think she's significantly contributed. If not her, Meredith. That I feel like that's the only other possibility for that question because Meredith's character was
Hold
so
on. Don't explain
unapologetic.
Meredith,
Why?
because we gotta close out. I just
You
wanted
got
to
to
hear
close out.
one. I
I
do
don't
gotta
got to do
close out.
nothing.
I do gotta close out. But
Mm,
I do. Holly was great. Holly was
yeah,
also just hilarious
yeah,
herself, even
yeah,
not as like a reaction to her funny,
yeah,
but even
yeah,
just her voices, or her,
yeah,
you know, Kelly don't like what she say? Holly don't like new phone, want
yeah.
old phone,
What
Reese's
all
piece, and
phone? Yeah, yeah.
hilarious.
They
Like
they were goofballs.
she was quality. She was quality.
Yeah.
And even though he ended up kind of in almost like a love triangle of sorts at one junction
Mhm.
because he
What
wasn't,
with Jan?
with Jan, and then the real estate girl, the one that
Was
he
he in a
took.
triangle with Holly and the real estate lady?
I can't. I remember. I remember Jan and the real
Yeah,
estate lady being around
yeah,
the same time.
yeah.
I can't remember. Oh no, yeah, he was, because remember Holly was there and he said he was gonna treat Jan a certain way while no treat Holly a certain way while Jan was there because she had came with the baby or
No, no,
something
yeah,
like
I
that.
remember. I remember the three of them, but I don't remember an issue with him, Holly, and real estate.
No, I think you're right. No, and real estate, no, just Holly
Yeah.
and Jan.
Speaking of which, real estate. Do you know that's his wife in real life?
I did
Did you
not.
know that?
I did not.
That's his actual wife. One more. You remember the scene when Pam was in the hospital and she needed help getting the baby to latch on so she could nurse?
Yeah.
You remember the male nurse that
Yep.
was helping her?
Yep.
That's Jenna Fisher's husband.
I
Yeah,
love when they do that in shows. Just like
yeah,
one of my favorite shows, King of Queens, Kevin
yeah.
James. He has his wife in the show, Leah Remini. She has her husband in the show. Kevin James
Oh wait,
also has his.
I didn't know that. Who's Kevin James's wife on the show? I didn't know that.
If you watch the show a lot or enough, she she was Carrie's nail lady. She's like really tall,
Oh,
slender. As a matter of fact, there's an
yeah.
episode where they're in bed for the cold open, and they say, do you get one? Like someone that in this world that if somehow the other person got a chance at them, you just have to sit back and let it happen. She chose um Passion of the Christ.
Mel Gibson?
Mel Gibson. She chose Mel Gibson, and then she was like, "Who's yours?" He was like, let's see, Julia Roberts. No, I'll just go with the girl that does your nails." And and it made it hilarious
That's
because
funny.
even if you didn't know that was his wife, it's like out
Yeah,
of all these people, you're gonna pick
yeah.
someone I go to all the time. But then
Right,
even
right.
funnier knowing that's
That's
actually
his
his
wife.
wife, which was
That's
dope.
his wife. I wonder
Yeah.
if that was scripted. I wonder
Right.
if
I
he just
wonder.
said that. Yeah, yeah.
And then her
Yeah.
husband. Do you know who her husband was?
Mm-mm.
So there's an episode where they had a new guy who was a Latin guy, and he always used the word Jack. The whole episode was about
Oh,
him being like, "Oh, that's all right, Jack. Oh, we got it,
oh.
Jack. No problem, Jack." He was always saying
Yeah,
Jack.
I haven't seen that. Yeah.
When Kevin went home, Doug went home, he was talking about it. He was like, "I wish I had a thing like that." And so, long story short, the episode goes into them being like role playing.
A thing like that is in a speech thing.
Yeah, like a cool
Oh,
little way of talking that other
got
people
it. Got it.
remembered him for. And so that he started doing it. Like that, then she's like, "Ooh, baby, come on, and give me the pasta," trying to act Latin. The next day, Carrie's like, no, the next day he's trying to get some some morning love. And she's like, do the voice. And so then he's thinking like, hold on. So anyway, it goes down a long road of
that's really complicated.
You're right, like you like want him, not me, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But that guy was actually Leah Remini's husband.
I got look for it. By chance, you know what season? Because I don't know that show as well.
I don't.
Ballpark. I'll look for it.
Yeah, I don't.
And he was you said what character was that? Like,
well, he was in there a couple of times. That particular episode, he was.
I mean, like,
working.
what did the character do? Did he have a profession, or like how?
That's what I was about to say. He was working with Doug at IPS.
Okay.
He was a new employee or a transfer, I think, at IPS. But I'm pretty sure if you put in Leah Remini's husband, King of Queens, it'll pop up. It'll pop up because he was there a couple of times. Yeah, it was there.
I'll look for it just so I can see. I see the guy's face, but I'll look for it.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, bro. Well, hey, episode 4. My man CA has been here. We have talked about a lot. We went over sitcoms. We
talked about beating kids. We talked about murder.
Kids. We talked about OJ. We talked about Will Smith and Chris Rock doing the Smack tour in the future. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's what he was doing for a year. Did you see the special?
Oh yeah, I went to it in LA. I went to where'd I go? What was that? Oh, it was at the Forum. Yeah, it was good.
Dude,
it was great in person.
It was it was an amazing show, and he went in.
I loved it.
I did too, but I was just like, damn, bro.
No, let's talk about that one too, because that was a good one. That was a good one.
Yeah.
That was that was good.
I would argue it might be his best special. Like, and I'm a Chris Rock fanatic.
He's one of my top. He might be. No, that'll take too much conversation. I was gonna say he might be my top comedic writer of all time, but I would have to say I would have to be more specific because then when you start adding in Paul Mooney's and that group is eclectic. I would say as a stand-up comedian, he is probably the best comedic writer for my taste.
Yeah,
like because he knows how to do it. And it's not just the comedy. It's like the stuff that he says that just makes you think. I'll never forget one of my favorite lines, as you know, because you're a fan, was when he said, I think every bullet should cost $5,000. If every bullet costs $5,000, there'll be no more innocent bystander. That's genius, bro.
Yeah.
That's genius.
Yeah.
He was like,
it'll never happen.
I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
When I can afford it.
Yeah. I'm going to save up. Yeah.
I'm gonna put these bullets on Lelway and you a dead man. Like, come on.
Yeah.
But bro, thank you for spending time with me today, man. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Pod is good all the
Pod
time.
Is good.
You're supposed to say all the time.
Pod is good.
Yeah, pod is good. Pod is
all
good.
The time.
And all the time. And with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and sign out. It's your man Cashmere, California. I'll holler at y'all. Thank you again, bro.
I can do it right. Do it again.
We'll do it next time.
Okay.
Bye, America and the world and the universe.